You will end this episode with a 15-minute workflow that turns a raw CSV export into a polished, board-ready financial report. No spreadsheet formulas, no manual chart building, no formatting headaches. You will have a PDF that looks like a consulting firm produced it, pulled directly from live data you provide. That is the entire promise. If you have ever spent an afternoon wrestling with pivot tables just to answer one question about your revenue breakdown, this is for you. You are a founder, a finance manager, or a freelancer who needs to report numbers to someone else, an investor, a client, or your own board. The problem is not that you lack data. You have tons of it. The problem is that turning that data into something readable takes hours. You copy numbers into slides, you resize charts, you reformat tables, and by the end, you have a document that is technically accurate but visually forgettable. Contrive removes the entire assembly phase. You focus on the story. It handles the layout, the visuals, and the structure. If your background is operations or sales, not finance, this is doubly useful. You do not need to know what a waterfall chart is or when to use one. The template decides for you. What you need is a dataset and a clear question you want answered. This tool is built to make you look more competent than your Excel skills actually are, and it works. But you have to use it correctly, which is what we are doing now. Open Contrive and hit the sign up button. Use your work email, because the free tier is limited and you will hit the wall quickly. After confirming your account, you will land on a dashboard. Ignore the sample reports. They are pretty, but they teach you nothing. Instead, click the button to create a new report. Now, the first choice is the data source. Select CSV Upload. It is the fastest way to get real information in. The supporting files, like a data dictionary or a chart of accounts, can come later. For now, respect the format. Your CSV needs a column for dates, a column for amounts, and ideally a couple of dimensions like category or region. If your file does not have a date column, stop and add one now. Contrive will not guess. Clean dates are the single thing that makes or breaks this entire process. Once you upload that file, the tool scans the columns and asks you to match them to its expected fields. You will see drop-downs for date, amount, and dimension. Take 30 seconds here. If you map the wrong column to the amount, your report will be mathematically correct, but semantically wrong. That is a tough error to catch later. After mapping, you get to choose a template. This is the second most important decision. The templates are grouped by use case. You want the one labeled Financial Performance Overview, not the revenue-only one. The Performance template gives you a P&L summary, a cash flow view, and trend graphs. That is the complete package. Pick it and hit Generate. The system takes a snapshot of your data and produces a draft in about 90 seconds. You will hear a chime and see a preview. Now you have a draft. This is where the real work begins. The first thing you will notice is that Contrive has chosen a bunch of charts and tables for you automatically. Do not accept them all. Look at the top of the report, and you will see an executive summary that Contrive wrote. It pulled the top 3 numbers from your dataset and turned them into sentences. Check those numbers. If they match your own mental math, good. If they do not, your data mapping was wrong, and you need to go back to the upload step. Assuming it is correct, you now customize. Click on each chart block. You will see options to change the chart type, the date range, and the grouping. Here is the key reason why you need to do this manually. Contrive defaults to monthly grouping. If you are a SaaS business, monthly is too coarse and you want weekly. If you are a retail operation, monthly hides your seasonal spikes. One click on the grouping selector to weekly changes the entire story of the report. Spend 5 minutes adjusting the time grain for each chart. Next, you will want to filter. The filter panel lets you exclude certain categories. For instance, if your CSV includes a test transactions category that you used for development, exclude it now. Otherwise, it will skew your margins. Do this for every chart that references your costs. Then, you move to the narrative sections. Contrive inserts boilerplate text blocks below each chart. You need to rewrite these. The tool generates generic descriptions like revenue increased during the period. That is useless. Replace it with one sentence that explains why. You are reporting to humans, and they want the insight. This editing step is 30 minutes, and it is the difference between a report that is read and a report that is ignored. When you are done editing, click the Export button and choose PDF. The file downloads, and you are done. I ran a real test using the revenue data of a small e-commerce client of mine. The file had 4,800 transaction rows, 2 years of history, and 3 product categories. I followed the exact workflow you just heard. The total time, from sign-up to final PDF, was 18 minutes. That included my rewriting of 4 narrative blocks. Contrive generated the initial draft in 90 seconds. The PDF came out at 1.2 megabytes, which is very reasonable for a 30-page document. The file size stayed small because the charts were vector-based, not raster images. The output quality was genuinely good. The chart colors were on brand. The table formatting was clean, and the numbers matched my own calculations to the decimal point. I compared it against a similar report I had built manually the week before. That manual version took me 3 hours and 17 minutes. So Contrive saved me nearly 3 hours. The cost was zero because I was within the free tier for that month. If I had gone over, it would have been $20 per month for the basic plan. For a consultant billing at $50 an hour, that is a 5-minute investment that pays for itself 40 times over. The one thing I did not expect was that the auto-generated executive summary flagged a 14% drop in the accessories category that I had completely missed. It caught a trend I had overlooked. That alone justified the tool. Here are the honest limits. First, Contrive is only as good as your data structure. If your CSV has irregular formats, merged cells, or missing values, you will spend more time cleaning the dataset than you would have spent building the report by hand. The tool does zero data cleaning. There is no deduplication, no outlier removal, no automated date parsing. A single malformed date string can break the entire report generation. I had one file where the dates were in mm/dd/YYY format for 6 months, and then switched to dd/mm/YYY for the rest. Contrive silently interpreted the latter set as the former, and my trend line looked like a sawtooth wave. I only caught it because I checked the executive summary numbers. Second, the narrative text generation is weak. It writes generic sentences that could apply to any company in any industry. You cannot rely on it for any analytical insight. The tool gives you the visuals and the structure, but the thinking is still yours. If you want a report that is truly persuasive, you will rewrite most of the text. And third, the template library is limited. There is no cash flow statement template, no budget versus actual variance template, and no multi-currency support. If your business operates in more than one currency, you are out of luck. The tool will add the amounts as if they were the same currency, which is wrong. So who should not use this? If you are an accountant who needs to produce audited financials, do not use this tool. It is not compliant with any reporting standard. And if your data is messy, fix it elsewhere first. The obvious alternative is just Excel. You already own it. You know its quirks, and you have built reports in it before. Excel wins in one clear situation: when you need complete control and you do need to clean your data anyway. If your dataset is already clean and you have a niche layout requirement, Excel is predictable. You will not fight a software that insists on making charts you do not want. But Excel fails when you need speed and consistency. Every new month, you rebuild the same report, adjusting ranges and hoping your formulas survive the new rows. Contrive refreshes everything with one click. So the choice is this. If you value control and your data is dirty, use Excel. If you value speed and your data is clean, use Contrive. Here is your next step. Export a CSV of your last quarter of transactions. Sign up for Contrive's free tier and run the exact workflow I just showed you. Time it. If you hit my 18-minute mark, you are winning. If you go over, you will at least know your data structure needs work before you adopt this as your standard. Next episode, we automate the messy part: automated data cleaning and normalization for messy datasets.